Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is Paul Pastelok, Senior Meteorologist at AccuWeather. Paul, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Brittany. Great to be here.
April showers are in full effect at the beginning of this month. It has brought in a band of some pretty dangerous weather, whether it be some residual winter storms or tornadoes. So can you break down what have we been seeing this week?
It's been a very, very active pattern that's set up in the Pacific first and then translated across the country. And so we've seen a mix of almost everything. I mean, that's not uncommon for spring to see snow, rain, thunderstorms, and whatever. But we've seen kind of an extreme of it. And flooding rainfall in the Northeast, severe weather in the Ohio Valley, for instance, lots of tornadoes that got touched down in Ohio and parts of Indiana and Kentucky over the past week. And so very active pattern. And we can't leave out the West. The West has seen their share of action and more yet to come.
Yesterday, I was walking from work. My umbrella was completely broken by the winds, by the rains, and I was soaked. So is there any good news coming for the Northeast specifically, or any other areas really that were impacted by these intense rainstorms this week?
Well, I think we got a little longer to go. I think we have a few more days here before we start to see kind of a change go on. And I do believe that we still have a little late winter run going on here in the short term. But after this run of cold air, wind, and even some snow showers and snow in the Northeast, I think winter is pretty much calling it quits. Anything after that, you might get a snow shower here and there, some chill. I think it warms up. Next week is looking much better. Temperatures are going to climb in the Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast, and it'll feel more like spring. And with all this wet weather and that's been on, don't be surprised you're cutting that lawn about 2 times coming up here in the short term, because that grass is going to grow quickly out there.
Well, this is the one time I'm lucky I don't have a front lawn. So you're saying this is winter's last hurrah, essentially.
I think so for the Northeast. I mean, you can still get these late season systems that can produce maybe a snow shower here and there, the mountains a little bit. But all in all, this is the worst left to come. And once this pivots out, I think we're going to see a big change here next week with temperatures coming up. Later on in the month, there is some connections that are going on that could bring another brief change to cooler weather. But I mean, this is mid-spring. That happens. It's common to see that kind of thing, but nothing like we're seeing at the present time.
I do want to pivot just a little bit. Kentucky saw multiple tornadoes touch down this week. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the thing is that a lot of that activity was formed because of these very, very strong systems that were coming west to east across the country. We saw them coming in the California coast, move across the country, and just a tremendous amount of cold air aloft and warmer air at the surface at that point. And that produced a lot of twisting and a lot of turning of the atmosphere and produced those tornadoes. So doesn't happen that often this time of the year. It's a little early for the Ohio Valley, but it did get a little bit out of hand. And hail too, wind damage in West Virginia also caused a lot of damage in that part of the country as well. So not only the tornadoes, the wind damage, and even hail spread across with this severe weather event that took place.
Sounds like a dangerous combination there. Is the worst over for that area? Should they still be bracing for more?
No, and here's the thing that we long-range forecasters looked at here at the beginning of the season. When we put out our spring forecast, we noticed that the Great Lakes didn't freeze up much, okay? And we knew that may have an opportunity to contribute to possibly more severe weather in that general area, the Ohio Valley and Kentucky. We just actually thought it would be a little bit later on in the spring, but it's happening now. And any system that does come out from the west, we have opportunities for more severe weather. We think that later April and May, the severe weather threat becomes more spread out across the country. So the plains will get into the action, Ohio Valley, and even the Mid-Atlantic as well will be involved.
Dive a little deeper in there for us. As you noted, you are head of the long range department. You're saying there's some dangerous storms this spring upcoming. What can you tell us?
Well, I think that, when we look at this spring, Tornado Alley is actually going to stick out. It's going to start to pick up a little bit more because the water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico early on here in the spring have not been that warm. They've been above, but not that warm. As they get warmer and warmer, which we expect to happen here soon, that warm, moist air contributes to a lot of severe weather. And we still see a pattern coming out of the west that will pull some of that warm, moist air back into Tornado Alley and also the Mississippi Valley. And so we do expect activity to really pick up there. March actually overall ended up being just below the average. We had like preliminary accounts of 66 tornadoes. The normal average is about 80. So we didn't really get above the average there, but we do think the end of spring picks up and we should see an above average May as far as tornado activity.
So specifically, is there anything that people should be doing to prepare for this above average activity?
Well, they should be thinking about it now. I mean, here we are in April, and we're kind of in our forecast, we try to pick out areas of more concern, again, referencing the Eastern Plains and the Mississippi Valley, and also the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic states. So those folks in those areas should say, hey, maybe this is the year that something can come close to my house. So we want to have at least a plan in place in case something like that does come at our house. And then, again, when the warnings start to fly, take them seriously. Don't, say, oh, it never comes this way. We'll just kind of blow that off. No, you can't do that. You got to take it seriously and be ready at the time that these things happen. But now's the time to have a plan. Always have a plan. And not just at home, but at work and at school. Make sure everyone has a plan just in case.
Paul, I appreciate the forecast that you gave us today. Thank you so much for coming on in and breaking it down. I hope to speak with you again soon.
Sounds great, Brittany.